Bridge program in mathematics. For today's video, we're going to discuss about radical equation. So what is a radical equation? A radical equation is an equation in which the unknown value appears under a radical symbol. Take note. We encounter and use radicals when we solve the power equation. So actually, we are done with this already because we already encountered this when we discussed power equation. The equation is given by the nth root of ax plus b is equal to c. So this is the general equation for a radical equation. Nth root of ax plus b is equal to c. Now in this case, our radicand here consists of a variable, so it's an expression. Now what is n? N here is what we call the index, and this ax plus b is called radicand. So the value or the expression inside the radical symbol is what we call the radicand. While this is the radical sign or the radical symbol. Now you have to take note that when the index is an even number, let's say n is equal to 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on, extraneous solutions may occur. So it is necessary to verify the answers. So again, if you have a radical equation and then you got the value or values of your variable, then it's very necessary. It is necessary to verify if your answers or the numbers that you got really satisfy the equation. So let's remember on how to solve a radical equation. So here are the steps to follow. First, isolate the radical or radicals and identify the index n. Number 2, raise both sides of the equation to the nth power. So you raise both sides of the equation to the nth power. And number 3, use algebraic techniques like factoring, combining like terms, and etc., and many more that you have learned already to isolate the variable, and then repeat steps 1 and 2 if necessary. Number 4, check your answer. Eliminate any extraneous solutions from the final answer. So it's very necessary to check your answers. So let's have example 1. Solve the radical equation. The square root of 5 minus x minus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, so here's the solution. First, you have to isolate the radical. So we put the radical in the left side of the equation, that is square root of 5 minus x is equal to 3. And then next is square both sides. Okay, raise to the nth power. And our power here is 2, that's why we square both sides. So squaring both sides, we can simplify the equation. So the square root of 5 minus x raised to 2 becomes 5 minus x, and 3 squared becomes 9. So that's why we have 5 minus x is equal to 9. And then you solve for x. Using algebraic technique, we have negative x is equal to 9 minus 5, which is simplified into x is equal to negative 9 plus 5. Therefore, x is equal to negative 4. So this time, we are now ready to check our answer. Check your answer. So first, you write the original equation, which is the square root of 5 minus x minus 3 is equal to 0. And then you test if at x is equal to negative 4, it satisfies the equation or not. So square root of 5 minus the value of x minus 3 is equal to 0. And then you substitute -4 to the variable x. So we have square root of 5 minus -4 minus 3 is equal to 0. Now, is it equal? Is the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side? We are not yet sure. So we will continue simplifying the expression on the left side. So we have square root of 5 plus 4 minus 3 is equal to 0. And then simplifying that, we have square root of 9 minus 3 is equal to 0. And then square root of 9, we know that this is 3 minus 3, which is equal to 0. Okay, so therefore we have 0 is equal to 0. So therefore the solution set is -4 only. Let's try example number 2. Solve the radical equation square root of x squared minus 2 minus the square root of x plus 4 is equal to 0. And again, we follow the steps. Step 1, we isolate the radicals. So we write on the left side square root of x squared minus 2 is equal to the square root of x plus 4. Next, we square both sides. So we have the square root of x squared minus 2 raised to 2 is equal to the square root of x plus 4 raised to 2. Okay, so we square both sides. And then, simplifying that, applying the law of exponent, so law of radicals, then we have x squared minus 2 is equal to x plus 4. And then solve for x. How can we solve for x? We combine like terms, or we isolate all the variables and the constants on the left side. Then we came up with an equation, x squared minus x minus 2 minus 4 is equal to 0. And you notice that this is now a quadratic equation. And then we apply methods to solve a quadratic equation. That is by factoring, by completing the square, quadratic formula, or what? Completing the square, or using the another method, or any method that you want to use in order to solve the quadratic equation. But before that, let's simplify first this equation. X squared minus x minus 6 is equal to 0. Now, the easy method that we can use in this example is by factoring, because x squared minus x minus 6 is factorable. And then we have two factors, the quantity of x minus 3 and x plus 2 is equal to 0. And then we apply the zero product property. So we have x minus 3 is equal to 0. You solve for x. This is x is equal to 3. And then x plus 2 is equal to 0. Then x is equal to -2. Okay? So let's check our answers. So let's write the given original equation first. We have the square root of x squared minus 2 minus the square root of x plus 4 is equal to 0. And then we test if x is equal to 3 satisfies the given original equation. So we write square root of x squared, where x is a placeholder in this case, because x is our variable. And then we substitute the value of our x, which is 3, to the variable x. That's why we have 3 squared minus 2, a square root of 3 squared minus 2, minus the square root of 3 plus 4 is equal to 0. And since we do not know yet if the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, so therefore we will continue simplifying the expression on the left side. So by simplifying, we got square root of 9 minus 2 minus square root of 7 is equal to 0. And then square root of 9 minus 2 is equal to the square root of 7 minus square root of 7 is equal to 0. Therefore, we have 0 is equal to 0. How about x is equal to -2? So we have, we're going to substitute -2 to our variable x to the original equation. So we have the square root of -2 squared. And in this case, it's very, very important to put -2 inside the parentheses because this means that negative is included. So we raise -2 to 2. And -2 minus the square root of -2 plus 4 is equal to 0. Okay, then simplifying the expression or expressions on the left side, we have the square root of 4 minus 2 minus square root of 2 is equal to 0. And then we have the square root of 2 minus the square root of 2. Is it equal to 0? Yes. The left-hand side is 0 and the right-hand side is 0. Therefore, we can say that -2 is a solution of the original equation. And also, x is equal to 3. Therefore, the solution set, we have set of our solutions, -2 and 3. So I think you are now ready to try to answer the exercise that we have. Solve the quadratic equation below. And this is an example of a radical equation. You apply the steps, you follow the steps in order to solve this type of equation. I mean, there is a correction. This is not a quadratic equation, but this is actually a radical equation. Okay, so take note of the correction. We have the square root of z minus 6 minus the square root of z plus 9 plus 3 is equal to 0. So you solve that radical equation. Okay, so thank you so much, and we hope that you learned something from this video. Bye!